Okay, the next thing we are going to start the assembly modeling. We have just finished all the parts. From this point in the inventor, I start a new, this time assembly file, which is standard millimetric IEM file. Select this one and hit the create button. From the first assemble, have the place command and just go and find your part files, which are in this. My files are on this folder, and I will just select my parts one by one by pressing the control button. Okay, hit the open and select with right left click and escape. We have one copy parts here. Next thing, the first thing in the assembly side, we have to just make one part grounded first. For this, I will just make this valve body. You can just use this right click and hit the grounded, or you can just use the feature window and hit the ground. Now I'm going to just fix this part. As I have told before, most parts are cast iron parts, and also I'm going to make different colors. Before this, I will just change my point of view style, shaded with edges, to see the edge connections. Okay. The next thing, what I'm going to do is I will assign the materials. For example, the body part, probably made up of cast iron. Also, the hand wheel, these parts, the part bonnet here, and the other parts are small parts, and these are probably, they are not cast iron, normal steel parts. I'll just go assign iron cast parts. It takes, when I have changed the material properties, it automatically grabs the colors. I will just change the material colors as I wish. Yellow, that's this one, red. Also make this shaft green. Good. I'll just select beige. This one, orange. I'll just change the colors and I'll assign the other materials still. Let's make these parts made up of normal steel. Okay. And change their colors afterwards. White. This one. Gray. This as well. Light red, let's say. Pink. Yes. So this one. White. Or violet. No problem at all. This is the normal. Default, let's say. gray color. Okay, we will just construct the groups first. As you see, we have the first body part, and after this one we just combine the parts on and on after. Here we have a part at this point which is connected the first stem here with the color part, which is this one, and we will combine these three parts to each other. Let's have the assemble constraint. Make the axes to each other. I'll just make also I'll just keep this axis to this axis like this. Make combine. Inserting to each other, which is this surface. Again, this is our solution with the flush, which is inside. Also, I'll just keep these surfaces against to each other. Okay. I think we have a problem at this point. Yes, I'll just correct the first thing. Okay. Yes. We have the number 5. Let's look for in detail. I'll look the number 5 on this. Look for the part 5, the sleeve. Now just insert this part file around this one. I'll just change first, rotate this part around this axis and insert it, mate it these axes to each other, and I'll just make the seating against these surfaces. Also, I will insert this surface to this surface like this. Also, I will make this surface mate it. Okay. I will also use this axis to mount on our body axis, which I can see maybe at this point. For this, I will just look for it and open the XY plane visible to make a sectional cutout view. From this point, I will just rotate this group around this axis with escape, hit the up, rotate this around this axis, and make the half section view up to this point. And to see this axis, make the constraint this to this. Okay. Here I have most of the assembly at this point, which is inserted at this point. As you see, I will just move at this point. I will just limit the seating position with the limits maximum, which is 5 mm. It was in the mentioned in the beginning of this video lesson before, and make these condition, and this is mated 5 mm in distance. Okay, we use this section, please enlarge your assembly constraint dialog box here. Okay, the next thing, we have the sleeve inside here. I'll just make the other group inserted to each other. Okay. Also, I'll rotate this cap. Rotate or escape and make these two axes to each other. Also, I will make these two axes mated to each other. Okay. I'll just use the same axes. Also, I'm going to use, I will just stick this axis to our part axis. As you see, we just use and move the parts this way. Okay, also we have sleeve part. I'll just adjust to this part here. Next thing we have, and this axis for hand wheel, and we are going to just adjust from the top side. Let's begin. Okay. We have the parts so far. We haven't left, I think, to just check if we have left any part from the other side. Let's start and have the valve. Save valve part. Stay down valve. For the first time, it just asks us to save the files. Please yes to all, then OK. Next thing, the first thing, from the top side, I will just begin to mount on it. We have a square here, and we have a hand wheel. I'm going to just make the first connection. Have the constraint tool, select this surface, have the back surface of the hand wheel. And also we have a rotational constraint. I would like to rotate with these two. As you see, we have from the top side, it is not truly mounted, I think, because yes, as you see, we have missing constraint. I would like to have the inside faces with outside faces. I would like to have the angular constraint to body section. Yes. This time our shaft is just turning with this two body part, as you see here. Okay. I'll just turn this one. Also, I think I have made a mistake at this point. I'll just look for the hand wheel and make this deleted because I would like to use the other side, or make this move a little bit higher than this one. Yes, like this. For this, I will just keep the surfaces flushed. These are turning together this time. We also have a washer. From this point, we have made this group. We will just insert this gland packing. We have a gland part which is just the number for I'll search that part by having a section view which passes through XY plane. Search the number 4. Here it is backside of this part which sits on this view. The cap. The cap, I have to just turn this cap on the other side. I will just change and edit this on the aligned version. Yes. And I will just make this blend straight on the back side of the part. For this constraint, I use the opposite surfaces. This surface will be opposite to this one, and I will just make the packing here. The number 2, the number 3, and with the number 4. Let's go downside. We have a part 7. We are not going to make this part, but I would like to have that part in the part list. For this, I'm going to make an empty part, standard minimum, and name it as a phantom part, which is stuffing box packing. Save this file with part 7, part stuffing box packing. Okay. So again, let's save this part file, open the bulk assembly, and bring that part file also from place command. Although it's empty, just place with escape and save your part file. Assembly file, I'm sorry. After this one, we have the number 2 inserted between these two parts. Yes, like this. As you see, we have inserted these two parts into each other, like this, and make the squeeze at this point. I will just make. I have all enlarge, expand all the parts, and close the XY planes visibilities and also center plane visibilities, starting from the top side. I'll just erase these relationships. Make this one invisible. Make this one invisible. One by one. So, we have just given the material properties, also the colors, to our parts. XY plane, YZ plane. Just close the visibilities of the parts that we have. Now our view is a little bit much more clearer than this. Yes. The next thing, we have this gland, the number 2, the bonnet part, sit on this group. I will just make these two surfaces to each other. Okay. Also, we have a sleeve part inserted at this point, which is around somewhere here. It is on the bonnet part at this point, which is this one, as you see, which is this one, and up to this point. Let us see. So this, I'll just, it is moving, but I need to fix this sleeve and use the sleeve surface. This surface just sits on this surface. Make the connection here. I will also just cover this or this point. Constrain this also sits on this part. I'll just connect the parts into each other like this. Okay. We have also the connection around this one. As you see, we have an empty connection around this part. We also have the connections. The missing part, let's recall, save our file, all components, and recall the missing parts, which is the 9 actuating screw, which is metric 4 at this point with 7mm thread. As far as I remember, I can use the measure tool to get that dimension. From under tools menu, we have a measure tool. I'll just measure the distances between the items. We have a 9mm and 7mm threaded length for our hole. Let's place. This time for standard parts we use the place content center. From the fastener groups we use bolts, rivets. We need the bolts. We have the screw, rounded head screws. Double click. You see, we have many parts, and under this sphere you can also have a little bit much higher than the screw. Let's search for ISO standards. Screw ISO, this one with rounded head. All these rounded ISO standard. I will just select. It is not implied too much. For this reason, I will just select a normal screw, which is IE and ISO. Let's say this screw 7380-1. I'll just select that tool. Select this one first of all. It is implied with metric 4. You can just choose between these lengths. You can use also, we can use part file here around, let's say 6mm. One click, we have, I'm going to insert this part axis to the part axis, not this point. I've used the axis, changes the rotation, okay, and I'll just choose the seating point, backside sits on this point, like this. Okay, But okay, I can move this tab, moving these two. Okay. The next thing, what I'm going to do is, we have 12 millimeter. This is an hexagonal screw. For this one, I just search for that one, not the round this time. This time, a hexagonal screw. To make the connection between valve seating and this valve, this part. Okay. Again, hexagonal screws. That's hexagonal cap screw. These are inch hexagonal bolts. Hexagonal cap screw. This time. Again, with metric 4, if it doesn't have. Let's select another part. Let's look for this standard. I'm not sure about this one. Make a selection only. Yes, we have metric 4. The shortest one will be enough for us. We have this connection. Escape. Again, I'll just set the axes first. Then we just combine these two parts to each other. Also, we can use the same part mounting to each other. Again, constrain this point to this one. But okay. The next thing, we have a nut on the top side, which just connects our hand wheel with the nut. We also have to have a washer on this top, but it's not implied at this point. Place from contact center. I need a nut this time. Normal hexagonal nut. Normally we have 42 point. Yes, this one 4032, which is the metric one. ISO 4032. I have this one with size the metric for. Just insert it. For this connection, I will just look for it. Again, stick to this point. I will just adjust the seating position, which is this one. Turn this face. Which is this one. Okay. This is our body part. Mounting. We have just adjusted all the things, all the equipments onto each other. We have just squeezed and only we limited our move. Like this. We can also just make this prevent this rotation if you want so. We are going to continue with the body parts. Before this one, I want to show you the inspection mode, which will analyze if we have any interference in our parts. For example, we sometimes may have faults in our assemblies to interference each other, and we can check this interference by the inspect tool. We first have the analyze tool. Select everything which we have in our assembly. And we will just make the software to analyze to each other. And I will just make the interference connections. Here tells this part, the body part 6 and color just coincide itself. I will just have again the half section view, and I'll just select the both body XY plane to see where it is just coincide. As you see here, we have an interference at this point. For this reason, we may have to change our design dimensions. For example, again, have the Analyze tool. We just select again the tools, define the sets, select the half section. Let's save the view section. I'm sorry. Let's say change this view name section. Okay. Save the part file to assembly file. I'm sorry. And have the inspect tool. Define the set between the parts. We just select all the parts in our body, in our assembly. I'm sorry. Just select, and we have two interference at this point. We have the one with the valve body, which interferes to each other. This is this one. The hand wheel to part 8. It interferes to each other, so it is not important at this time. We can just correct it, but we have a problem at this point, which is we have this point also. We have to correct it first of all. And we can see the details, the volume size, how many millimeter cubes they go inside to each other. And you can also think about the volumetric interference in these. We have a very small amount in these connections. We also have some thread connections which are also having these threads. We have the mating threads without the mating threads, non-threaded content center parts. We can also have a great analyze interference here. Okay, what I'm going to do, yes, this time it's enough for this one. Also, I would like to just create, I have saved this file, and after this I'm going to just start a standard millimetric part here for the presentation file. It asks me to just select the stop down valve. We have just created an exploded view. Also, I have told you that we are going to make the animation about this point. For this, I will just make the visual style shaded with edges to see better here. Also, I need the animation here, which is this one. For this valve scene, I would like to have this part with the transparent views, and like this. With the animation, I would also like to have a sectional view. Let's first create the exploded view. We just use select the components, which are this one. For example, we just first make the tweak, have the hand wheel, and it's not, and move in this principal direction. I have this one. You can also, I'm just going to make other valve. First the body part, I will move to downside. Also new tweak component by using this way. Also the other parts, I will just have this view. Save. I'll just make the tweak. I have accidentally created two snapshots. This is not the snapshot that I'm looking for. I tweak the components, two components. I will just select with control button, move to downside. Also, I would like to have another tweak just to make it clear the bolt view. Also, I will just move these much more further to see in isometric view. Also this gland packing from the top side, I will just insert it up to this point. Here I have, I'm sorry, this is the cancel. Another tweak component to the bottom side. That's this, like this. From the front view, I'll just make move to downside, which is this one. Also, I'll just move two parts, this part to back side, down, and stem to the top side. Also, I would like to have this view, this part to the top side, and this sleeve, and this part with control button. I'll just move them down and move the stem with this principal direction, like this. I think the exploded views a little bit much more clearer this time. I'll just create these views. Okay. From this, we can change the opacity, as you see. But we will just do this in another storyboard. For this, I'm just going to make a new storyboard and make the clean type. I'm not going to start with this one. I will just make a new animation here. For this, I would like to see inside of this part and change the body part opacity. I will just make this opacity override, which is I do not want to see too many things inside. I would like to have an animation to show what we have inside. Also, I would like to see other parts. Watch these again. This one. right, and I will just drop down to have a transparency view to see what's inside. Here we have a 5mm in stock, and I will just make the move animation move with this one. I will just use the tweak component, select these two components, also this one, by rotating, by using this one, and when I'm just creating a rotation with angle, let's say 1000 degrees. Also, when this group is turning, I would like to have to take move for the upside in positive y direction. Also, I would like to again create this group, select this group, tweak by moving again. I'll just select this group, a tweak. This time, not rotating, we are moving, and sorry for this one. I would like to have the duration for 2.5 seconds. I would like to just make the 5mm move on this point. Select components with 2.5mm seconds. I would like to go up minus 5mm on the negative Z direction, which is on the Z axis, like this. We have a combination like this. We have a combination movement. But this time, I would like to have the same movement at the same time. For this reason, I will just extend this storyboard and adjust my component views and movements with simultaneously, and move these. I'm sorry. Move this one. While the moving, it just goes up like this. Also, I would like to just move the other parts with these together and add this movement from this. Let's start the animation. It's also moving, and I will just make the move on the other side. Just hide first the visibilities. Cancel this one. Make the visibility. Let's break. Also, let's break. This time we will just add together. Also, I'm going to make selection and insert the same movement to this section, this group, with these moving group tweaks. And this time I will just add just select, unselect, edit tweak, and add the other components as well. This one, this one, this one. Also, we have another at this point. These also can rotate at this point. Let's just animate again. We use the same thing as you see. We use 5mm movement. we again make the visibility of these two parts. Also, we change the opacity again. Okay, this one. Also, this one. As you see, we have the movement. With this movement, we have an animation. We can just capture this video by selecting storyboard. I'm just going to change my directory, which is the gate valve application, and I will just save the file in this group, this animation, and it is completed. If I have opened this valve again, this time I will use I cannot see this one. Again, just check the video folder here. Yes, I think I have just saved somewhere else. I will just go and find the story. Again, I can just create it. This is very short this time. Okay. Gate valve application 1. I'll just save somewhere else. I will just find this folder. Yes. This is the storyboard. The animation. This. It's a very short animation. I'll just see. You can also save your camera to make the section, to make the story much more like the film scenario. You can just make these scenarios as you wish. Okay, we will continue with the technical drawing side.